at 9 o'clock. Skills and drill sessions, Bruce Mike. First session here, Coach McGowan from Siena Heights. He's going to talk about wide receiver fundamentals.
Appreciate you guys coming out. Jzavion McGowan, wide receivers coach at Siena Heights. I know it's crappy out. I appreciate you guys taking the drive down here to come learn some ball. A little backstory on me. Before I reached the collegiate level, I was a high school coach at Adrian High School, and then prior to that, I was a middle school coach at Adrian Middle School. So I've kind of been able to see at different levels how kids retain knowledge, how the verbs we use can kind of help them gain or kind of keep that whatever we're trying to teach them. So that's essentially what this entire presentation is about, is to use basketball. For some reason, I kind of learned over the years that all kids know basketball for whatever reason it is, whether it's more accessible, whether you play soccer, you play hockey, you play football. Every kid kind of understands and knows basketball terminology. So kind of using basketball terminology in a wide receiver standpoint to kind of help the flow of practice, help guys understand things a little bit better. I know at the high school level, when I was a high school coach, we had film once a week. We had film on Saturdays. It was game film. We didn't really get to break down individual things. So you guys may not have enough time to kind of teach these guys more in depth. So everything that you do has to be quicker, has to be more precise. Versus where I'm at now, I get these guys whenever I want. Morning, night, I can watch film with them. We got our drills filmed, everything like that. So for you guys, my big thing is I'm trying to give you guys a couple things to kind of teach them or kind of tell them where they can understand things a little bit better. All right. So to kind of give some backstory on us, so that we can kind of add some validity to what I'm talking about today. We're coming off the best season in school history as far as receiving goes. We have a top 10 receivers in the country. We have the best receivers in our conference. 3 of the top 10 receivers in our conference were on our team. 2 all-conference guys, set multiple records. So the stuff we kind of do since I've implemented it back in 2023 in the spring, this has kind of come to fruition, and here we kind of are today. So everything that I'm going to talk about, realistically, is our DVDs that we do before practice. So I do DVDs 15 minutes before practice. We get out there early so that our individual time is all based on what we're doing that week, specific stuff that maybe we're lacking as well. So everything that we do as far as what I'm going to show you today, we do this pre-practice, okay? So I can hop up here. I got a couple guys with me on our team. Bobby Opalewski's from here, man, coach against the Siena 7x7. We got CC, Chris Coleman, he's from Lansing, Ainsworth. I got Cadell Bradley, he's from Indiana. So you guys don't know him too much. All right, so we'll go our first thing here. So whether you're an old head, you like Isaiah Thomas, Allen Iverson, kind of what you think of ball handler are. If you kind of watch nowadays, you got Kyrie, Steph, whoever you feel the best ball handler is. The big thing they do when they cross over is they step into the guy, get into the defender. All right. I always want to go into the guy, into the defender. I know I'm a young guy, and I know this is a new thing, but I don't like slide releases. I don't teach slide releases. I don't think they work for what I'm trying to do with my guys. I was a DB first. I played DB in college. I coached DB, the last 5 years up until this year. So my biggest thing is if I'm a DB and I'm sitting on him and he slides to the side, I can stay square, right? I'm a mirror. That's my big thing as a DB. I want to stay square. I want to mirror these guys. So if I slide or I have a slide release, that allows the DB to stay square. All right. If I slide release, I slide outside, I'm going inside. If I slide outside or I slide inside, I'm going outside. It's very hard to slide release in the direction that you're actually going. So I don't teach slide releases. I don't like slide releases. All right. So everything I do through regression steps, ABC steps. It's just like crossover, right? You see some guy, you see Kyrie trying to get to the cup. He's here. I'm into the guy. It's on a diagonal. I'm getting into the defender space. I want to attack that defender. All right? I want to attack the defender. So what I do in open practice, this is our first EDD. Go right foot up. Right foot up. The big thing that I want to do is I can walk a little bit. And then I'm back on top. The big thing that you can see with them, I don't want the worst thing that I can do is get to them and give them my entire chest. I don't want to give the DB my entire chest. I want to limit this surface area. I want to turn my shoulders. I want to give him this shoulder pad. I would rather him punch his shoulder pad than try to punch my chest. All right? Everybody can hear me. Somebody's kind of cutting out. You good? A little low. Gotcha. A little better, a little better, a little better. Cool. All right. So the big thing with this is when I take this step, I really need to overemphasize turning these shoulders as well. I don't want to take this step here, give him my entire chest. He's just going to body me up. He's going to get his hands on me. All right. So y'all can walk through it again. Back on top. Everything I do and everything we do with this is on a stem. I want y'all to stem it. All right. If I create too much space, right? Play DB on me. If I'm taking this step and I just go, now he can push me to the sideline, right? Now he can push me to the sideline. Everything I want to do, I want to get back on the stem. So if I'm going to step into him, I'm taking this step, I'm trying to get back on top of him. I'm trying to get into his hip pocket. All right, it's just like if I was to go off a pick and roll, anything like that, I want to keep it tight. I want to keep it tight to the defender, so it's the same thing. So we'll do a B step now, B step. So that's a two. It's a crossover like this, all right? It's a crossover. It's a double crossover. So if I'm teaching a kid this, and he doesn't really understand progression steps, A steps, B steps, whatever the case may be, I can just tell him that I want you to cross over. As a basketball kid, I just need you to cross over here. That's it. And when I got the B, I want you to cross over here and here. Same thing. When I do these steps, I need to gain ground though. I don't want to B step here. I'm not going anywhere. I need to get here, and I need to get here. I need to get off the line. I don't need to overemphasize kind of getting out. I don't need to take these big steps like this, but I do need to gain some ground. Okay? So let's do a C step. C steps are a little more difficult. We may not have kids that can kind of do them, but we try to get to this. Yep. We try to get to this progression. Cordell, if you want to do this full speed-ish, be careful on this. So I always want to get back on the line, but I'm gaining ground with it. See, Joe? I'm gaining ground when I do these C steps. And his is a little shallow still. He's also 5'7", so that's not really his fault. But his 5'8", my bad. His are a little shallow, but I want to gain some depth on them. So these are the first things that we do as progression steps. I relate these to crossing over. I relate it to Allen Iverson. That's my favorite player. You can relate it to whoever you want. Kyrie, whoever the kids watch. It's just like I'm crossing over. All right, it's just like a crossover. So we got, go back one, coach. We got press releases now. Y'all just want to get together. Yep, y'all just want to get together. So this is our dip and rips. All right, this is no hands. All right, so what we do here, I got a right foot up here. This is just like if KD does it very well, Kyrie does it very well when they're in this triple threat, they rip through. It's the rip through. All right, it's turning the shoulders. It's making sure that I reduce this surface area when the DB's trying to touch me, okay? So what we do, we start with the right foot, and then, right foot, two commands. So we do two commands. We do the right foot, all right? Got to make sure your guys are on the same page here. So I'm going to go two commands. Y'all can walk through it. So we go hit. We get to a split release here, all right? And then I'm going to go this way. He's going to go this way. Second command, I'm here. And I'm around. Tight. All right, dip and rip. And the big thing with this is I'm not using hands. I'm not using hands at all. So I got to really move my shoulders when I do this or it's not going to work. All right, I got to really rip through on these shoulders just like I was ripping through, just like KD rips through, goes up. It's the same thing. I got to rip through with my shoulders. All right, very violent on the rip through. I'm going to have y'all two go through it. Y'all can go like 50%. Hit. So I'm in a split release. Hit. And I'm around. Don't touch me. I'm all shoulders, no hands. Go with him. Hit. Good. I really get violent. I want them to overemphasize right now in our EDDs so they get that muscle memory of actually doing it. All right, and this is all going to lead up to kind of what we're talking about next as well. All right, so after our dip and rips, we go club and punch or club and swim. All right, a lot of people say swim. When I think of swim, I think of this, trying to get all the water behind me. It's this big arcing motion. I like to say club and punch, so I want to keep this arm 75 degrees and 90 right here. All right, when you watch somebody fight or you watch Mayweather, Canelo, whoever, it's violent punches through here. Right, that's what I want. I want a violent punch through. And what is this going to do? This is coming from our A steps as well, because you can A step at the same time that you do this. All right, so as I'm going, I'm A stepping and I'm through. All right, so this is my club and punch. I don't like swim. And the reason I don't like swim, raise your arm up. If I'm a DB and I'm here and I see him raise his arm up, I got two options. I can punch his ribs, and a lot of guys don't wear rib protectors or anything on the ribs. I can punch his ribs. That's going to accumulate throughout the game. Next, if he has his arm up, I can get under this shoulder pad and I can push him wherever I want. Right? So I don't want to get my hand too high because I don't want to give him all this space. If I keep it here and I'm violent with it, it's harder to control me right here. All right? So you got pressure points in your elbow and your wrist. Everybody got pressure points in them. This is where we aim at. All right? I want you to either punch the wrist, I want you to punch the elbow. And when you punch it, it's not this, it's not this. When I punch this elbow, I'm through. I'm pushing his arm. I want to turn his entire half of his body one way or the other. All right? So emphasis on these pressure points. When I punch through, I'm here. I want to hit the back of my hand on his thigh. And then I'm right back on top. We're just working on stacking. Are you always going to be able to do that? Absolutely not. Nothing's foolproof. All right? Some guys are just better. They get around quicker. But if we emphasize this pre-practice, I'm here. Now it's going to be easier in the game, easier when we're doing live stuff to kind of get this motion, okay? So you do it really well. Go in, Bob. So when you do our club and punch, yeah. Hit. Right back on top, go ahead. Hit. Good. And I like to punch, and this is my big thing. Come here. So if this guy's bigger than you, all right, let's say he's bigger than you, I want to punch. Realistically, I want to take this and I want to take him down, right? I want to drop this shoulder so I can come over top of this shoulder, right? Especially if I'm a little guy, I'm 5'8", 5'7.5", like CC is, right? I need to get this shoulder, I need to get this wrist, whatever the case may be. I want him down and I want to come over top. All right, so different heights of the defender is going to kind of determine on if I push up, push down, okay? But this is our club and punch, club and swim, however you guys kind of talk about it. I like the club and punch just because it keeps my arm at a certain degree. The last one, we got club and rip. All right, club and rip. Big thing, this is just like the first one, the dip and rip, except I'm using hands this time. I'm using hands. It's the pressure point still, right? I still want to get at these pressure points. Here, and I'm around. It's the same concept, all right? Same concept that we've been working on. With this one, I may need to push up, right? I want to go underneath him. I may need to hit this pressure point, and I may need to push him up so I can get around and I can stack back on top of him, okay? So this is our club and rip. Y'all want to demo the club and rip for me? Club and rip, club and rip. Hit. Good, good. It's the towel drill that you see. It's the towel drill that you see. You're reaching down to grab that towel. I need to get lower, right? I just want to reduce that surface area. This entire thing is reduce the surface area so the DB can't get his hands on it. If I give him my entire chest, it's 2-1 to none. He's going to get his hands in. He's going to lock up. It's harder to break off of two hands than it is with one. All right? So these are our press releases. This is kind of what we do pre-practice. And then our last one, we got our blind spot releases. So our blind spot releases, when I'm working a man, I don't want to turn his entire body. I don't care about turning his entire body. That's not my goal. My goal is to work half the man. If I'm attacking this arm, I want to turn this arm and this foot. He can get turned this much, he can go this way. It doesn't matter. I need to turn this half of his body. I don't need to work his entire body. That helps me out, so I don't have to do all these moves to try to spin him in a circle. I don't want to spin him in a circle. If it happens, it happens. Okay? I want to work half the man, right? So if I'm working half the man, I got to pick an 8-point. I'm going to go this shoulder, depending on what my release is, depending on where I'm going. Okay? So when I do blind spot releases, blind spot releases. If you look at guys in basketball terminology, I'm off ball, I'm setting somebody up for a screen, I got to set them up, and I'm going behind them. That's essentially what I want to do because I want to chase this back hit. I'm chasing his back hit. Like I'm setting them up, I'm going baseline, whatever the case may be. Okay? Hop over here, see? Cordell, you do it first. Yep. So we'll do blind spot releases so y'all can walk through it. Walk through it. Right, go that way. I'm right back on. So what I want to do, I'm using the A, B, and C steps. However you have to do that, that we worked on initially, right, to set him up. So I want to set him up, and then I want to get to his hip. Realistically, what I like to have my guys do in this is I want to have our DB overemphasize shoot hands. It just makes it easier so our guys can understand it. So emphasize shoot hands, or way you step that way. All right, so if I'm a DB, he's getting back on my hip, okay? He's getting back on my hip. The next progression of this is, if he does this, gets back on my hip, I spin back on him, now he's back in this other blind spot here, okay? So I want to chase his blind spot until I can create some separation, all right? So if I was to step into him, you shoot your hand that way, yep. Shoot that way. So if I step into him and I do this, I'm giving him time to get back on top. He can spin, he can get back on top, right? If I'm quick enough with it, and I get back on his hip, I ain't running like this. Slow down, I'm retired, man. All right, now I'm back on his hip, now I'll have him here. I will take my guys in a 50-50 ball over the shoulder like this any day of the week. So if I have this type of relationship, I'm gonna teach my guys know how to catch deep balls, which we'll talk about later, and I'll take this every day. Versus me being right here, giving this guy time to get back on top of it, balls floating up, that's how, you know, you get those highlight picks, all right? So I want to get back on this guy's hip every single time. I want to get back on this guy's hip every single time. So we do our blind spot releases where I spin once, and then I spin twice, boom, here, back on top. But this entire time I'm working half a man, I only want to work half a man. I don't care about turning his entire body. All right, so this is just like I'm setting somebody up, going baseline, coming off a screen in basketball. So that's how you can kind of teach your kids that as a coach. So we have our levels of contact. All right, so everything I was just kind of talking about was your primary level of contact. So that's at the line, that's your press man stuff, that's your guy that's kind of waiting on you, motor mirroring you, okay? Your secondary level of contact, that's your off man or your first guy that you hit after the line of scrimmage. All right, that may be a linebacker, maybe a DB, whoever it is, okay? Then your third level of contact is your top of the route. You're always, majority of the time, especially if they're playing man, you're gonna have some type of third level of contact, some type of top of the route contact, okay? So everything that I just talked about was your primary at the line, guy in your face type of thing, okay? The same moves that I just talked about are the same moves that you can use on the second level, all right? So we did our dip and rip. Come stand up here, Steve. Yep, good, perfect. So if he's playing off man on me, all right? If I want to get into him, walk with me, dip and rip him, and I'm around. It's the same motions. So the same things I teach at the primary point or at the line, I can do down the field. The big emphasis on this, if you see, you got the Euro step, right? Euro step in the basketball. They never Euro step. If this is the defender, I'm never going to Euro step back here. I'm not going to get anybody. I'm not faking anybody. I'm using my move too early. I need to get into this guy if I want to set him up, and I can go around, right? So I need to get into the man, essentially step on his toes before I make my move, all right? So I will say he's gotten a lot better with it early in the season. He was making moves too early. He's making moves right here, not getting around people, wondering why I'm not getting around people. All right? So the second level of contact, I need to get into him. I got to work half a man. Everything kind of goes together. So I got to pick a side that I'm aiming at. Whether I want to aim at this guy out here, I'm going to aim at the outside, I'm going to set him up, and I'm going to go back inside. Or if I want to set up going inside here, set up inside, now I'm back around. All right? So this is my second level of contact, okay? I'm using the same moves. You can use whatever you want on that. I like to dip and rip. I like to keep speed. All right. If I'm sprinting fast, I'm not trying to do all this other stuff. Excuse my language. I'm not trying to do all this other stuff. I just want to go around. Okay. Your top of the level, or your top of the route, your third level. This is just like if I'm doing a dig, right? If I'm doing a dig inside, I'm going to get into him. I want my hand on his hip, I want my hand on his shoulder, wherever on the inside of him, right? Depending on his size, depending on where he's at. I want to go, I'm here, stay right here. I want to push him the opposite direction that I'm going. If I'm going on his dig inside, I'm right here, right? If I'm doing a comeback, or I'm doing a curl, let's say I'm doing a curl inside, and I get into him, I attack an angle, I'm going to take my hand, I want to push off on his hip, and I want to come back. I teach my guys to push off on hips instead of shoulders. It's less obvious. You kind of get a little grab of the jersey maybe a little bit, but I want to get into here and I want to push off. Okay, so that's your third level. So what I'm going to do, you stand right here. You stand right there. Do a dig inside, dig inside. So you're going to do on air, back up there. Yep. Thank you. So on air, you're going to do a move at the line. You're going to do a move at your secondary contact, and then you're going to do a move at the top of the route as well. Big emphasis on this. I want you to stack back on top before you get there. Good. So get on his toes and stack back inside. Good. Good. And we'll get a ball at it with it in practice. We'll get a ball. Obviously, we'll do this full speed. I don't want to go full speed on this ground, but we'll do this full speed. Do the same thing, do the opposite direction. Yep. Stack more, stack more, stack more, stack more. I want to be right behind him, right on his butt, right behind my butt lined up with his butt as well. Okay? My butt lined up with his butt. Good stack, and flat. Good. So those are 3 levels of contact. 3 levels of contact. You can do that drill. That's the drill that I like. It shows me, it has me kind of do everything. I get to do the releases. I get to do the stack and stem, and then I get to catch a ball at the end as well. Okay, so that's my levels of contact. This is something I'm just going to talk about quick. I tell them always to protect with the defenders, or to attack with the defenders protecting. So if I'm a DB, let's say I'm doing cover 3, right? Sideline is those bleachers. I want to hug this in here, right? So I'm going to attack his blind spot and then start going out because there's nobody else out there. There's nobody else out there. If you attack when I'm protecting, I have to step to it. I have to go to it, right? So regardless of if this is man free, where I got somebody on top, this is cover 2, whatever the case may be, right? Your stem has to attack what the defender is protecting. Always, always. I can't just run, just like as a DB, when I was a DB coach and I was teaching kids how to play DB, I don't want to just protect an area. I need to protect a man. It's the same thing with receiver play. I don't want to just run to an area. I don't want to run to an area because at the next level, when you got guys that can baseball turn fast, you got guys that can cover ground faster. If I'm not getting into him and I'm not making him uncomfortable, he's going to eat me up all game long. All right, so I got to attack with this defender's protecting, okay? So that's just something I wanted to talk about. We'll go next one. Coach. So pressure steps. This is a big one. Everything comes off of one leg when you're playing receiver. Everything's off of one leg. It's like a layup, it's like a dunk, right? 95% of dunks are off of one leg, right? Most of all your layups are off of one leg. Okay, so it's just like I'm going up for a layup. It's just like I'm going up for a dunk. Okay, so the pressure steps. It's the strength and the balance in my ankle. It's the strength and the balance in my hip and my knee. Okay, so I'd like to do this every single day. Get all 3 of y'all up here, right foot. So what I like to do with this, when they do this, walk through it for me. So we're going to hop to a 3rd time, get set, and then he's going to run a slant, boom, off that leg, just to get them to feel it. The big thing that I like to emphasize, which I'm not going to have them show here on the carpet here, but when you're doing this, it's not about how fast that you do it. I want to see how much ground you can cover with your leg and how you can balance. I don't care if you can go here. Everybody can do that. I don't care about that. What I want you to do is I want you to get, I have to do it once. Let's get out. Okay? So I want you here, and I don't want the extra hop. Good. Good. Yep. I don't want that extra hop. So he had that extra hop at the end. I want you to get down here, and I want you to land in balance. Why do I want you to land in balance? Hop out here. If I'm coming off a route and I'm trying to cut, and I have a DB here, I'm doing this. I'm trying to push him off my route, right? I'm trying to push him off his route. If I can get balance in this leg to where I push you, and you can still kind of stay in the same spot, that's what I want. But if you get out here and I go to cut, and I can just push you off the route, you're never going to win something at the top of the route in man coverage or in any other coverage. Okay? So the big emphasis on this, and what you can teach the kids, is I'm going up for a layup, I'm exploding out, but I want you to explode out. Okay? I need you to explode out as far as you can on each one of these jumps, and then we end it with the actual rep of doing a slant or doing a dig or whatever the case may be. Okay? So we'll do it left foot, left foot, left foot. Go. Get set. Good. So I like to do these pressure steps in a straight line, and not everything is in a straight line. So then I like to do these on an angle as well. This is the same process, same thought, right? But I'm skating a little bit. And this is going back into reducing this area, being violent with my shoulders, all right? So when I jump, if I'm here, I need to move my shoulders. I don't want to stay square. And I'm here. And then I'm going to get out and I'm going to do my route, okay? So I like to do these on an angle as well. Get you set for that. Let's go. Good. Let's go. Really rip through with those shoulders. Good. And the thing that I want to get them out of I don't like them doing this. It's a bad habit of them. I don't like this. I don't want you dragging your foot. I want you really exploding out. So when I do it, I need to get this foot off the ground, and I need to rip through. Okay, so let's get the foot off the ground. Shoulders. Good. Shoulders, watch your levels too. Good. So those are the pressure steps that I like to do. I'll do it both directions. I like to do everything both feet, so I can feel everything both feet as well. Okay? Just like a layup. Just like a dunk. Perfect. Last one. All of this is building up to you going and getting the deep ball. So a lot of this is just me talking, but we have the release. We worked on the release. Everything we just did was the release, right? We worked on that, okay? Whatever release you got to do, club and punch. I want to go club and rip, dip and rip, whatever you got to do to get out, okay? That next step, so pop right here for me. Give me whatever type of release you want. Walk through it. Boom. This next step after I get this release, so if I want to dip and rip them, this next outside step, so it'll be this foot. It's my express step, right? This is the foot or the leg with the power that's going to push me to propel me forward. All right. So if I want to run this fade right here, and I'm going around, this step needs to propel me this way. A lot of guys that go sideways because they're trying to create space. They may go inside a little bit more. But I get this move, this next step, I need to go forward. My toe needs to be pointed forward because that's where I want to go. That's my vertical express step. So that's your second step in it. All right, the third one, the big thing that I've taught with these guys is downfield hand fighting. So I'm hand fighting here. If I got a hand on my hip like this, I'm here, basic thing, right? I'm here. If I got a hand on my shoulder, it's like I got a bug in my ear or something like that. I'm here, I'm getting this bug out of my shoulder, right? So this is your hand fighting down the field. You're going to have that the entire time, especially if you're in press man. He's going to be holding on. He's going to be doing whatever. Take it down, pull it down, right? I'm fighting him the entire time down, right? While I'm doing that, I have to hold my line. The worst thing that I can do is get on my hip and just let him push me out of bounds. Let him push me off my line. So what I'm doing when I'm here, on the shoulder, I'm leaning into him. My body weight's going into him, right? I want to make him uncomfortable. I want to get into his space as well. All right, so that's the fight and that's the holding the line. Another thing with it, go out there for me. If you're playing somebody in off man, and I meet them, just stay right there. So if I'm playing somebody in off man and I get up to him, I have to anticipate that he's going to put hands on me. I want to put hands on him before he puts hands on me. Meaning, if I'm here, and I'm walking into him, right? I'm here, and I'm leaning on top, and I'm getting back. Guy who's really good at it, Siena Lamb's really good at it. All right, this is big swim, big punch, little punch, however you want to, your terminology is. But when I'm getting to him, I'm here, I'm around, I'm back on top, and I'm leaning into him while I'm doing it. All right, if I keep my body square like this, I'm here, I get no momentum moving forward. So I gotta move, I gotta dip a little bit with my shoulder, just like we were dipping and ripping earlier, kind of moving that shoulder there, all right? So chin, I don't like my guys to look, I don't want you looking for a ball like this, running down the field, all right? Stop your motion moving forward, hold that for a second. I want you looking with your chin. I'm here, I'm looking this way versus looking like this. It's hard to run like this. You're going to lose track of where you're going. A lot of guys sway outside. So if I look, I did all this. I did my hand fighting. I'm going to look up with my chin, and I'm going to track it with my chin. All right, so I teach them to track it with their chin. I don't want them to track it with their shoulders. If they got to spin around to get a ball, they got to spin around to get the ball. But I don't want you running down the field like this with your shoulders open. Okay? Last thing of it, everything's with your eyes. Track the balls with your eyes, all of them. All right? This is out of bounds over here. When this ball comes, I don't want to let this ball get outside of my outside eye. If this ball comes and it gets way the hell over here, it's harder to track. If this ball starts to go out there, eyes start to go out there. And I'm going to track the ball because I want to catch it on this half of my body. If I have to, if I'm getting a back shoulder, they're playing some type of defense that I got to get it on the outside, obviously we'll adjust, right? But for the generic D ball, I want to keep this right above that eye. If it starts to move, then I'm going to start moving with it. But I don't want to go here, trying to spin around to catch the ball. I need to be able to track it with my chin. All right, so that's the kind of the art of how I teach the D-ball for these guys. It's worked for us for the most part, kind of catching the ball down the field. All right. That was kind of the quick overview of kind of from the press man, from the press release, all the way to the D-ball. If you guys have any questions, if you guys want to talk about more in-depth stuff, anything like that, contact info's there. You can come talk to me. I got cards for you guys. I appreciate you guys coming out. Have a good day.